we would get elves behaving badly.
Yeah.
That's what we would get, and it would be
Yeah.
just so good. I know if I know they sell these in California every once in a while. If you ever get the chance, this is legit the best thing to come out of Utah. You went to Lime Pilsner.
You went to. Okay.
Mm, so
Cool.
good. So
I got my trusty.
I know. Golden State.
Yeah, there we go. All right, zoomed in. Now is it zooming out?
I think you're
I have
not
a little
fuzzy.
I have a little change.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I just shaved it.
That's weird.
I know. I shaved it, then I looked and I was like, oh, there's a reason why I had a beard.
That's
It hides all the ugly.
Ariel's sister. They have a dog, and it's a Labradoodle. And they got it groomed today, and it totally looked like a completely different dog. They shaved off like the entire beard and everything, like everything was gone. The poor thing looks like Falcor from Neverending Story.
It looks like a whippet.
Yeah. And I'm like, you look like me if I were to shave. I'm so sorry. Poor dog.
Oh my god. I don't think I could picture you shaved.
Clean-faced.
Yeah. Oh,
know,
there's a
right?
photo. You showed me a photo.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's weird. Don't do it.
Yeah, no, never again. Always with some sort of facial hair.
I do it every now and then. I think I'm just gonna let it grow for a while.
There you go.
Get it back to a nice big thick beard.
Yeah. I mean, if you can, you can, you know?
It's just it's this that always bugs me.
We'll trim
And the
that
itchy.
then.
Yeah.
You just push up the beard and trim underneath.
Yeah.
It's a good way to go. So few before we get into fitness, a few housekeeping things. I don't know if you saw, but Isabel won the drawing.
I did. I saw that.
Yeah. So that's going to be sent out to her.
Isabel.
Yeah, congrats, Isabel. You've got some she needs that pre-workout.
And thanks for listening and following us.
Yeah. She drives trucks, so she needs that pre-workout to keep her going.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Oh, she works for
FedEx or UPS.
UPS, one of those.
Yeah. Sorry, Isabel.
Yeah. You can correct us on the comments for
right.
For this when he posts it.
But yeah, so she'll get the sleep aid, the pre-workout.
Don't use the sleep aid
and
while
the
you're driving
at the same time. Don't do that.
Well, while you're driving the trucks, don't use the sleep aid. Yeah.
Also, yes.
That's a bad idea.
And then the apple cider vinegar gummies.
Yeah. Cool.
And I think, once we get a little bit more interaction from people, we've got a lot of listeners. We've got a lot of people coming in. Honestly, there are a lot of people from different countries. As soon as we actually start seeing some interaction there, I really, we've said a million times, we don't care what kind of interaction, just interaction in general. I'm going to do another one. Still with FNX, I'll probably do something bigger, maybe even get an FNX backpack and stuff it full of stuff.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Perks of working there.
There you go. And the hat.
Got a rep.
It's a nice hat.
It's a really nice hat.
How do I win one of those?
Apparently this is an old model, so they don't even make these anymore.
Oh.
They make the barbell one. Oh, speaking of barbell one though. So, your flag is coming, so that's going to be your backdrop, right? Which is awesome. Yep. Once I'm, moved into my place, I'll have my my map and a few other things kind of in the background. But I got stickers made and ordered.
You sent them to me, didn't you?
The stickers?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you did. Oh, no, you said you got stickers for yourself.
Yeah. But but so I got
See,
stickers,
I'm not completely crazy.
but I got stickers of our Swolhirrim logo made.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I got those made. Those should be coming the first part of June. And then I got your flag, and that's going. And then I got 10 shirts. Um, so right now it's a pretty limited number, but so like you and I will have one. I actually have two that I'm sending off to the two guys that do the Tolkien podcast that I love, the Unexpected podcast, the one that we've
Oh
talked
yeah.
about before.
Yep.
I'm sending one to each of them. And then I've already got a coworker that wants to buy one. And Irfan said that he would pony up some dough for one too. So
We still need to get Irfan on.
I know. Aside from that though, there's definitely going to be like, I want to start doing stuff like that again. We just need more people. Like
Yeah.
on Instagram, we've got like 35 followers.
Yeah. I mean, I have a feeling once the show comes out,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we could probably record one the night they come out, assuming I'm free, right?
Yeah.
And do a recording of one.
That's what I want to do. I would actually, I mean, at that point, I kind of want to do that. So do one a week, which
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming that Amazon's gonna put it out episodically like that.
Oh yeah.
I would assume they would, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Do they do that though? I want to say
I have not known them to for anything except for
no.
like Grand Tour.
That's the smart way to do it though. That's the way everybody's doing it.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they wouldn't for something this big, like put the whole entire series out so people can binge it. Like that doesn't make sense.
No.
So if they put it out episodically, I would love to, like, once a week we do a show one, and then every other week we still do one of these, whether it's a history or whatever, right?
We'll probably catch up to the show. By the time the
That's
show comes
true.
out, our history will probably catch up.
I know,
Or
but like,
maybe not. Maybe we'll get done with what it is that they're going to cover.
well, the funny thing is I keep thinking about that, and I keep thinking about like the history, but we're still really, really early on in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean it's still
Like we're just hitting the first stage.
Yeah, it's just the first stage. Yeah, you're
We're
right.
just barely hitting it. And even if we do catch up to the show,
they should really do the first stage.
I know. Well, again, I mean, we kind of talked about that, right?
Yeah,
but like the idea that if they do this right, if they could do like 6-episode mini series of the 4 big events, right? That would just be amazing.
Yeah.
But that aside, I think it'd be fun. But even if we do catch up to the timeline, like even if we catch up to the second age at that point, I don't think that's really going to matter because the history that we're given of the second age is almost nothing. And so they're going to have such like license to do with what they want that we can easily talk about the history and the show at the same time and it be different things.
Yeah. I mean, there's more history in terms of like men and specifically Numenorian men, right?
Right. But even then, I mean, you've got the what's talked about the most is Ar-Pharazôn, and that's the very end of Numenor, like thousands of years after.
But there's a lot.
There's a ton before that, but we just don't have a whole lot of information.
There's a ton like leading up to Ar-Pharazôn.
Right.
Right. There's a ton of there's is it Tar Palantir who was the king before him, right? So there's that. There's the whole like Kingsmen and
right.
You know, the loyalists.
That's the thing is there's plenty there.
I got that wrong. I know I got that wrong.
It's all right, but there's plenty there. But I do think that the show is going to be able to take so much like artistic, what is it called?
License.
Yeah, artistic license behind it, because there's just not a ton of detail. I would say the most detailed story of all of the Second Age is probably Aldarion and Arendis, and that's in the Unfinished Tales.
Yeah.
But that's the most detailed story that we get.
Yeah. We don't know. We don't know yet what it's supposed to be, right?
We have
Like
no idea.
when it takes place.
Well, we just know the Second Age.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, but not at what point in the Second Age.
No.
I have a feeling it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be towards the end of it.
See, and I think
You
I
need
think
you need drama. You need something.
right,
You
but
need some sort of conflict.
I think they'll be able to do that by showing the entirety. Like I mean, I know that we've talked about it before, but like the one good thing about having such a gigantic time frame is that you do have the elves to anchor it.
Yeah.
Right. And so even though I do agree with you that this is probably going to be mostly about men, right? Numenorians and
Yeah.
and their life and how their story goes. I think that I'm hoping and I think that they'll span centuries and use elves to anchor that story.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but I think that's an easy way to go.
When's it supposed to come out?
Yes. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it was supposed to come out this fall, but that's obviously not going to
Yeah, I don't
happen.
think. Yeah, it'll probably be.
It'll probably be next fall because I know that they like fall is a good time for
Yeah.
Lord of the
Well,
Rings.
nothing comes out during the summer.
Right. And I'm pretty sure they were saying that that Amazon was going to release the first season of Wheel of Time before they released Lord of the Rings. And I think Wheel of Time is supposed to be next spring.
Next spring.
Yeah. I don't really care about Wheel of Time, honestly. I got super bored with that. I listened to like the first, I don't know, 10 minutes and said, nope, this isn't for me.
I don't even know what that is.
It's is it Brandon Sanderson? I don't know. It's a fantasy. It's a made like a big
Oh,
fantasy
yeah.
thing. I think like one of the authors wrote like 12 books and then he died, so another author stepped in and like
Wrote
finished
12 more.
or something. Yeah, it's like a huge fantasy series. But yeah, I mean that's our store or our story, our show news.
Yeah.
That we don't really have much of. I actually I should give you I don't know. I should give you the login to the Swolhirrim Instagram. But I actually follow on the Swolhirrim Instagram. I follow a lot of the actors that
Mm-hmm.
are confirmed for the Lord of the Rings show, which is nice because a lot of them post just like scenes of New
Photos from
Zealand.
yeah.
Like nothing that's telling us one thing or another, like that they're filming or anything. But like obviously, if they're in New Zealand, they're filming, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so it's cool because like as long as they're still posting pictures of New Zealand, I'm like, all right, they're still filming, like they're still doing this.
It hasn't stopped.
Yeah. So that's nice because you're still getting a lot of that. And I follow like some of the directors. A new director was announced just barely. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw a post for was it the one for her birthday? Is that the one you're talking about?
I think so. The
Female
woman,
Yeah,
yeah,
female director. Yeah.
yeah. She's directed a few of like The Witcher, and I know that she's like I think a Swedish director, so she's done a lot of that TV.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that
but yeah,
that sounds right.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
yeah.
I saw that for the first time. I was like, "Oh, you got a post from, what's their
The Loader
Amazon?"
on Prime,
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, "Oh."
yeah.
It's like I haven't seen anything on that in ages.
How's fitness going, man?
It's going good.
Yeah.
We I told you we bought. I told you we bought a rower, right?
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
the
that's right.
addition.
How's
Yeah.
that?
Oh my god, it's opened up a whole new world of awful workouts. I did one. What was it? It was 500-meter row,
Uh-huh.
21 burpees, 400-meter run.
Sounds
Three round,
gorgeous.
3 rounds for time.
Oh yeah. Get it.
And, oh my god, I fucking hated it. Um, and then I did like a 2,000-meter row because I think it fell off. Um, no, it's nice to have the option because our neighborhood's kind of gross.
Yeah, it's better than running.
Yeah, yeah. Well, better than running in our neighborhood.
Yeah. I don't know.
Um,
I'd say it's better than running in general, but that's just me.
well, the problem with running is sometimes you have to run uphill when you're running
Right.
in a neighborhood, right?
Exactly.
Because roads slope ever so slightly down in order to move the water along to a storm drain. And so
You're out of
my
focused again.
our runs, let me do this.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
There it is.
Our runs always start out great because it's downhill from the house,
Mm-hmm.
and the entire run back is all uphill.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna take a week off though because I'm going down to visit my family in Southern California.
Oh, nice.
A week from, well, on Wednesday. So this Wednesday.
Okay.
So I'll be there for a week.
Awesome. So you'll be back 2 days before we record again.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Excellent.
Just in time.
Does that mean you're missing Murph?
Yeah. Aw.
Darn
Darn it. That does mean I'm missing Murph. Oh, shucks.
I was telling one of my coworkers that I made hero wads for J.R.R. Tolkien and Christopher Tolkien.
Yeah.
And she's all about it. She's like, tell me when. So I need to get one done for Bilbo and or Frodo before September 21st, before their birthday.
Yeah.
Because we got to have something to do on Hobbit Day.
You have to do it. You haven't posted any of them, have you?
I haven't posted any of them yet. The only way that anybody would get access to them right now is if they join the Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah, the ones you came up with are god awful.
Yeah, they're gross.
They're like ring muscle ups. Like who the hell has rings? No one has rings. No one lives in a
But it's the Lord of the Rings.
Well, I know that, but
so yeah. So hang some rings from your rafters and
you've been in my garage. You know that's not possible.
It's not an option.
That's not an option. That and I can't do ring anything. So
I actually don't think it has muscle ups. It's got toes to ring. It's got ring dips and one other thing. It doesn't have muscle ups. Yeah. So be better.
Nah.
Yeah. So are you still on your Wendler cycle?
Yeah. This week was deload week. Mm-hmm. And so the next week is a new cycle.
I feel like every week I talk to you is deload week.
You talk to me every 4 weeks then.
There you go.
So I'm going to start like about a week late because
you're going to be gone.
Yeah. Melissa's like, oh, you could do it all on the weekend. You can just do them. You can start Sunday and like do your back squat and your bench press and then do your deadlift and your overhead press, before you leave on Wednesday morning.
Just get wrecked before you get in a car.
I know. Yeah. Well, I'm flying.
Oh, okay. Well, that's That's at least something.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting trip because I'm going to take Bart from Oakland to San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. It's such a long trip.
Yeah.
I did
So
that last time I flew. Where did I fly last time I flew? I flew recently and I don't remember where.
Phoenix.
Yes. Thank you. Yep. It was Phoenix.
Yeah, you got Five Guys. Was it
Yep.
Five Guys? No, Shake
No,
Shack.
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that same thing. I got on BART at Fruitville
Yep.
and rode it all the way to the airport. And it's a long ride.
Yeah, because it's a long ride.
Yeah. Like,
I'm hoping I leave super early. Well, not super early. I leave like I think at 8 o'clock. My flight's at 8 o'clock. So if I get to BART at like 6,
yeah, you should be fine.
6:30, I should be fine.
I don't know
And
how
I have like that traveler thing.
Yeah.
I just get on.
Just tap.
Yeah. It was like I don't have to do the take my shoes off or any of that stuff.
Right. Oh, like the pre-board
Pre-check. I have pre-check.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, when I was there, I'm sure it's different now because a lot of things are being lifted, but when I was at that airport, it was more dead than the Oakland airport. Like there was
really?
no one there. Yeah.
SFO.
Yeah, I walked straight through, like just right in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine being there early. And then my flight home is at like 6 a.m.
Ugh.
Yeah. So my brother's been working a job out by LAX. So he said, I don't know if he's still doing that. So I need to check in with him to see if that's still a thing.
Still an option.
Still an option.
Well, no, that's good. Like you can get some stuff done at least. I mean, I would not suggest doing your entire thing like that, but you could at least get a little bit of work done before you head out.
Yeah, I may. Because then I would still have like a week off. I wouldn't have access to anything out there. So I may just do some running while I'm there.
Yeah. My lungs are finally getting accustomed to the altitude. I've been able to get through a few workouts without just being completely wrecked.
Without dying.
Like honestly, those first few, it was like I was sucking fire through a straw. Like that's what it felt like.
What's the altitude there?
Where I'm at right here, it's like 55.
Okay.
Yeah. Salt Lake, I'll technically be a little bit lower because I'm kind of in the foothills right here. So I think Salt Lake sits right at about, of course, that just happened. My computer's dinging. I think Salt Lake sits right around like 48.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not much.
Yeah. Right.
Just a bit.
It's not super high.
You can see this moth that's right here.
Son of a bitch. Whisper to it, then the eagles will come.
Oh yeah. Catch it.
Yeah. But then so I'm doing a little bit more. I'm feeling a lot better. I've been doing some I did Annie the other day and completely wrecked the skin on my tailbone because I didn't have a pad underneath me. Oh
yeah. I did Annie the other day, and what was I doing? So I usually have like this. I have this piece of rubber mat that we pull out just to do the jump ropes. It's smaller than the regular 4x6 mat, right? So it's a little less weight that you have to like drag down onto the street.
Yeah.
And so I bring that out, and then I bring out a yoga mat to do my sit-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was doing Annie, and I got through it, and I knew like, to beat my time, I had to do those last like 10 super quick. Right. So instead of like moving from my jump rope over to where like my my ab mat was. I just like dropped it, like I dropped down
Uh,
and I did it on the ground.
uh,
It was like it was it was the worst.
it just tear you up because I'm
Well,
still tore up.
it was only 10,
So it's
but
not awful, but
it was like I hit like it was like I was just doing it on the sidewalk without a rubber
right.
mat. It
You
just
just
felt
feel
like,
it on your tailbone.
oh, you felt it. I felt it like on my back, like as I'm going back and like
Oh,
trying to get up
oh
without the ab
yeah.
mat. Yeah.
Yep.
So
That hurts.
I think I got the exact same time, which was kind of pissed me off.
Oh, my time was way worse than my PR. I think my PR is right around 7 minutes. I think I finished in like 9.
I did one not too long ago. That was like a double under workout.
Mm.
Oh, it was a 20, was it, or it was like 10 minutes of double unders.
Just 10 minutes of double unders? That
Yeah.
sounds gross.
And so Melissa counted for me and I like just destroyed my last time. So I had like
Nice.
this massive PR on it. But like I was just like doing like 60 at a time. I was
Nice.
in the zone. So I've
That's
gotten
awesome.
I've gotten a little better with it thanks to the pandemic, because that's the only thing I could do for cardio.
Right.
Because I hate running.
Right.
So I had to get better at double unders in order to get some cardio in. Now we have the rower. So I did
Yeah.
I did baseline, which was awful.
That's such a gross workout.
I
Like
know.
it's a
It's
gross
the
workout if you're trying.
Yeah, and I was trying
Yeah.
and I failed.
Yeah.
But it's the sequence of rowing and air squats
Right.
that is just like, that's stupid.
But that was my favorite thing. Like that was my favorite thing to watch when I was coaching brand new people because they would like really push it on the rower and then they would get off to do their first squat and they were baby giraffes
Yeah.
just
Oh yeah,
wobbling down.
Melissa was laughing at me
Yeah.
because I was doing this like weird thing where I was like sticking my hands way out here to like counterbalance me as I came up. And it's just I'd do like 3 at a time and just like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to a Globo gym for the first time today in forever.
A Globo
Um,
gym?
like a big
You say
corporate like
you say Globo gym and I think of dodgeball.
but it's like Gold's Gym, like Vasa,
Yeah.
that type of
Yeah.
thing. So I went to one today. And I mean, I'm glad I went. But it's so weird there.
Yeah.
You've got like just a bunch of bros peacocking around for other bros. Like no women gives a shit about the
Yeah.
guys that are there, right? Like there is not a single woman looking at those dudes, but they're all walking around just like making sure that like every other guy knows that they're there,
Yeah.
it's such a weird vibe. um and then but I did realize that I've definitely over the last like 2 months I've lost strength
Have you?
because I was doing just like a bunch of bodybuilding stuff.
Yep.
And I was doing some incline bench and I was, I was at like maybe 50% of the last time I did it for Thunder Bros, and like it just wrecked me. So I've definitely lost some strength, but like mostly in my upper body. Like my lower body, I'm still squatting pretty good. I'm still deadlifting pretty good. It's just like my upper body, it goes
Yeah, I
quick.
mean, your arms, I could tell right now, your arms are looking really scrawny.
Shut up. This one's not going on YouTube. But yeah, like it's nice because fitness overall is actually going really well. I work with, a bunch of people who are super into fitness and,
Yep.
That
Yep.
helps. And so, it's fun. I've been trying to do as much as I can, without having, because I currently don't have a gym membership. So
Yeah.
without having a membership, I'm doing what I can. And it's going well. It's been a while since I've had like a 9 to 5 type job. So doing that and finding time to work out has been a little difficult, but it's working. And I'm wanting to um, get a little bit more of like some Middle Earth based workouts. I want to start, putting some of those out, or like at least, between you and I doing some of those and maybe like posting them on the Swolhirrim or whatever.
Yeah. I'd
Which would
record
be,
my awful
yeah,
results of a workout you designed.
of a tour-in workout or something like
Yeah.
that.
I would seriously suggest giving Ariel ideas of what it is that you're looking for and then having her build the workout.
Yeah,
Because
that would probably be a better way.
She'll build some
Awful
workouts.
workouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then, but like other than that, in the realm of fitness, like the funny thing is with how much I still, I keep up with I'm trying to say words here. Oh, CrossFit.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a whole lot of news. I mean, like they announced the semifinals, but like there's no big surprises there. It's all the same people that we expected to be there.
Yeah.
And so like that's nothing weird.
No.
And
The only new news is that it's not CrossFit, but it's Rogue. Rogue has
the
that
Bella
partner.
Complex.
Yeah. No, it's not the Bella. It's not the Bella Complex.
Oh, you're talking about CrossFit's.
Oh, it is CrossFit. It's the partner. Yeah,
the
it's
pair
that
up to throw down.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that looks fun.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing it?
No. We talked about it. I sent it to her. I was like, "Oh, this looks like fun." And then I saw the first workout, and I'm like, "Oh, we can't do that."
Nah.
Where are we gonna do synchronized anything in our gym?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
CrossFit
CrossFit needs to really think about, like, people have home gyms now. People built home gyms because of the pandemic. And it's just like, maybe build your workouts more towards that. I do need to figure options. Yeah. And just like a synchro thing, like we could probably figure it out if we wanted to, but we'd have to do it out on the street.
Right.
But yeah, no. I mean, the challenge looks fun.
The Bella challenge.
Yeah, it was like deadlifts, synchro deadlifts.
Oh, synchro, that one, yeah.
Burpees over the barbell, and then 400-meter run.
Okay.
I think is the first one.
Did you see? Because I know Melissa did. Did Melissa do the hang challenge from Rogue? Yeah. Did you see that they've got another one out though? The Bella Complex.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's I think it's what is it? A front squat, shoulder to overhead, and then another front squat as heavy as you can.
Yeah.
That sounds disgusting.
Front squat, shoulder to overhead, back squat.
Oh, is it back squat?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, I can't do that.
It looks so gross. Anything heavy enough to matter in the front squat, I don't want to go overhead with.
Well, anything, yeah. It's your front squat that's going to determine, well, it's your overhead. It's going to determine how much you can do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that there's another component to it, not just front squat, overhead.
There's something after it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's another squat. If you're saying that it might be a back squat.
Yeah, I think it might be a back squat.
Yeah. But yeah.
Which makes it tough because then you have to, whatever heavy weight you have to re-rack it on your back.
Yeah, which is never fun.
And I'm pretty sure you're right that there is another front squat there. Maybe it was like a clean. I think there's a clean. It's a hang clean. Yeah.
Well, because it's not a bear complex. If only you had a pocket computer that would tell you exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
The Bella complex. One clean. One shoulder to overhead.
Oh, okay.
One front squat. One shoulder to overhead.
That sounds worse than what I thought.
That actually sounds better than what I was talking about.
Oh. Yeah, but again, like think of that. Like, I mean, let's say you want to, like for me, I would want to try, like I would probably want to start out at like 185 pounds.
Yeah, I
And
couldn't.
like that would hurt.
I could. I think I could clean that. I can't jerk that.
You can't get that overhead?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you can.
Well, oh, I'll say this: I can get that overhead CrossFit style.
That's fine. It's shoulder to
Yeah,
overhead, man.
yeah, yeah. I can't. I can't. If it, yeah, if it was an Olympic lift, then I couldn't do that.
Right. You're not going full arm extension.
Yeah. So maybe I could do
Yeah.
an ugly one.
I
I
mean,
did it. I did one the other day, and I was just like, "Oh, everything about this feels awful."
well, I told you when I was doing those clean and jerks, what was it, 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
And like 200 pounds felt like a million. It hurt
yeah,
so much.
yeah. I haven't done any cleans in a while. Maybe I'll do some cleans when I
There
get
you go.
back. That's a
Got to
good
get back
idea.
in that clean shape.
Yeah, I need to do more. I need to get better about being consistent about like the wads. I know I think I've said that once already.
Yeah.
The
Uh,
biggest issue working from home is that the kitchen is right like 10 feet that way.
it's just food right
And it's
there.
just food. I know I should not have food.
Food and alcohol right there
I,
for you, man.
I know. All right, I switched it up. I
I
went to
can't
our
hear you. Hold
old.
on. Oh, get that PBR.
I
All right.
so I
I
did
switched it up
decide.
too.
Oh, look at you,
So this is another Utah brewery.
Sloop Zolupes.
Zolupes. It's got that accent, bitch.
Yeah,
Follow the accent, man. Um, yeah, it's good. It's got like mango in it, and it's delicious.
yeah. You're being fancy. I'm being not fancy.
I mean, not really, but yes.
Not fancy at all.
Um,
Yeah, I decided. I listened to the last one. I was like, oh, I'm boring. I need alcohol.
oh, there you
And
go.
I was drinking water the last time. I'm like, that's stupid.
It's dumb. We're talking about fitness and Tolkien. What does water
Yeah,
have to do with that?
yeah.
No.
Nope.
Nectar of
Nope.
the gods,
When did
sir.
we ever? When did we ever see anybody from the Fellowship drink water?
It's a good point.
Oh wait, no, we did. When Frodo is a dick and drinks like the water like an asshole.
Oh, that's right. Here, you have the last of it. All right, fuck this water.
Yeah. Uh,
What a dick. Oh, Frodo.
you
You
know who
had your
else was a
problems.
dick?
Who?
Fëanor.
God damn, he was. That son of a bitch.
I'm getting good at these transitions.
Dude, you do you're they're fantastic. I love them. Yeah, I mean, last time we talked about his transition into full dickishhood. And he's just getting more and more there, man.
Yeah. I was actually reading that chapter again.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't start off too dickish, right? Like we talked about it the last time where, they're like, the trees are dead.
Right.
The only light that exists are in your Silmarils, which are gone
Right.
anyways at this point. We know that they're gone.
Right.
And they ask him, right? Can we use them?
Right.
And I forget who says it.
It's Tolkas.
Was it Tolkas who's like, answer them?
Yeah.
Like, she's asking you, like, answer her, right?
Right.
And it's our good friend who we're gonna probably talk about a little later. Fuck, what's his name? The dwarfs.
Oh, Aule.
Aule is like, give him a moment to think about it. This is
Right.
like a really serious, thing that he has to think about. And he thinks about it. He's like, I made these, right? And I put my heart into them, and it would kill me to unmake them.
Right.
Which is a fair point, right?
Sure. But like Tolkien makes the point that he's like, right, bitch, but the light wasn't yours to begin with. But whatever. Fëanor likes to forget that.
Yeah. Anyways,
but yes, you are right. There have been multiple times where Fëanor, where it's almost like, okay, maybe we're gonna get something good out of Fëanor, right? There's been multiple times where that's happened, and then it's just like, nope, he's going full asshole.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So where do we want to start? Do we want to start with
we could start with our good friends Orome and Tulkas.
And how they failed to try to catch Morgoth?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that.
We kind of talked about this, right? Where they try to find him. They kind of got leads to where he was because a giant spider and the supreme evil of the world, hard to miss,
right?
But Ungoliant had this unlight, undarkness, this penetrating darkness,
right?
That essentially blinded everyone to where they were, so that they didn't know where they were. They eventually figured out that he probably went back to Middle Earth, and he probably went back to his stronghold at Autumno.
Right.
And we talked about this the last time. I think we ended somewhere around there, that Morgoth cried like a little bitch.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't give the Silmarils to Ungoliant.
Right.
And he was rescued by his Balrogs, Gothmog being one of them. Gothmog and the Balrogs, which I still stand by.
The
best fucking metal name ever.
Yep.
And he went back, fashioned himself his crown, his iron crown with the Silmarils. But he was wounded by Ungoliant.
Right. And by the Silmarils.
Because he was holding on to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened last episode.
Right. Last time in Middle Earth.
Last time in Middle Earth. Back in Valinor. Back in Valinor, it was fucking dark.
Yeah.
No light.
Yeah.
There's no sun. There's no moon, right? The only light that they had was the trees. The trees are dead. And they were gathered in the Ring of Doom, right?
Which is just great. Again, that's the album name of Gothmog and the Balrogs.
The Gothmog and the Balrogs.
First album, The Ring of
Doom. And so they were all just kind of hanging out, and that's where this conversation happened with, give us the Silmarils, right? We can make the light again, basically over my dead body, right?
Right.
No one was really saying anything, and so Fëanor pieced out back to his, back to his home. Did he go back to his home? He didn't go back to Formenos. He went to Tyrion.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he technically wasn't supposed to be still.
Yeah.
Because his
it's chaos.
Really up.
It's chaos though at this point, right?
Right.
Absolutely. And he was over it. And he called all of his Noldor people, because now he's the eldest son of a Finwë.
Right.
So he is, by most hereditary rights, in charge, right?
Right.
And so he calls them all to Tyrion and super pissed about everything and at everyone.
Right.
He's just
Like
an angry.
literally everyone.
He's just an angry guy, right?
Yeah.
And
He
uh,
has zero control over his emotions.
yeah. Um, and he talks to them about the kingship.
Right. And like it's funny because I often go back on that and like, you know, again, this is one of those things where it's like having Tolkien as the almighty narrator, we get to know some things, right? But like one of the things that you can't necessarily blame Feanor, even though I will never go back on the very first title of the very first episode of this, that Feanor is a dick.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things that, you know, you can understand is, and we've talked about this in other forms as well, is the idea that like the Valar have no concept of time, right? Even less so than elves.
Right. Elves
Because
have no concept of time.
right, elves, and, you know, and this is something that we've talked about where like elves, when we see it in like the Lord of the Rings and stuff, like elves or even ents, you know, talk about hasty. And it's like, right, it's hasty to you because you're immortal, but I only live for maybe 100 or so years. So like,
I mean, if you're
lucky.
if you're lucky.
Right. And so it's one of these things where like basically the Valar are like distraught, right? And like for a good reason. Like
Right.
not only did they lose the trees, but they now know that like they're what they loved, you know, the elves, the Eldar, have been corrupted against
Yeah.
them, right? And that like that kind of breaks their heart, right?
Yeah.
And so they're incredibly distraught, but that like and they're sitting in silence in darkness, and we hear from Tolkien that doesn't mean that they weren't doing anything, right? So we hear and we understand that from our omnipotent, omnipresent narrator, that the Valar do much and say much without words, right? I think that's more or less the quote that he says there.
Yeah.
Um, but like Feanor wasn't having any of that shit, right? All he saw was a bunch of sad gods weeping and not doing anything about it, right? And he wanted shit done now. So, like you said, he goes back to Tyrion, he calls a meeting, and like Feanor's got away with words. I mean, we know that,
Yeah.
right? We already know that the dude can talk. And he definitely knows how to stir a crowd, and we see that shit, right? He he again goes he falls back to that whole idea of them being thralls, right? They were servants of the Valar, and that, you know, they were only there because the Valar could not control them if they were in Middle Earth, right? And he's telling his people this. He's saying that, you know, they're servants of the Valar, but the Valar couldn't even keep Valinor safe. So how are they expected to keep them safe anywhere else?
Right.
And again, like, you know, there is always there's always truth in a rebellion.
Yeah.
Right. That's why it's so easy to follow charismatic leaders, because they can feed that little bit of truth. You know, things that people can see, right? They can see, these elves can see that the trees are gone. There's no light. It's just them under the stars now. And it was one of the Valar who did it, right?
Right.
Like that's a big deal.
Well, and that's what he says too, right? He's
Right.
like, I'm not going to give you the Silmarils, but you know, if you take them by force, then I will know you to be kin to Morgoth, right?
Right, which was like a big blow too.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
You
Like,
guys are one and the same if you
yeah.
know,
And
you're no different.
you've got somebody like Manwë who doesn't really like even understand evil, and he's like, my God, no, like that's a
Yeah.
big deal for him. Um,
Well, this is ultimately Manwë's fault, right?
it's absolutely Manwë's fault, because he's a dummy. But you know, this he is Fin or not Finwë. Finwë is dead.
Yeah.
Fëanor is really good, especially because he is so upset at stirring up this crowd, right? And that's kind of his whole idea when he goes back to Tyrion to claim kingship over the Noldor. He does it right then because he doesn't want like the fire in their hearts to dwindle,
Right.
right? He needs it to happen now. He
Yeah.
knows that as
He
a
knows
leader.
he has this moment where he can get them to do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And if he waits any longer, that moment will pass.
Right. And he specifically says, like, you saw the trees here, and you also saw the mountains that they created to keep that light of the trees away from Middle Earth. That
Right.
wasn't their plan, right? But again, there's truth.
Yeah.
And so he was, also like, look, they haven't gone against Morgoth. They didn't go after him. They won't fight him, so we have to do it. And so one of the things, there are certain times in our podcast, we don't do it very often, but there are certain times where I actually like to read direct quotes because I feel like they're very like powerful and important. So like one of the things that he says here is he says, after Morgoth to the ends of the earth, war shall he have and hatred undying. But when we have conquered and have regained the Silmarils, then we, and we alone, shall be lords of the unsullied light and masters of the bliss and beauty of Arda. No other race shall oust us. So like that has a lot in it, right? Because he's saying a lot there. One, he's saying we, as the Eldar, can go against a god, Morgoth.
Yeah.
Right? So that alone, like that's a big claim. He also says that essentially we will fight him until there's none of us left.
Right.
Right? So again, that's a big claim to put on an entire race, right?
Well,
And
he
then,
also, well, go ahead, finish.
well, and then what I was going to say is that like one of the other things that he says, because and I feel like this is a direct blow to what Tolkas said to him when he was talking about Morgoth or about Manwë keeping them there as basically slaves. Is I'm pretty sure it was Tolkas that said this. It might have been Orome that said, whether you're in Valinor or in Middle Earth, Manwë is king of all of Arda, right? So,
Yeah.
but in this, he's saying we shall be masters of the bliss and beauty of Arda, basically saying like, fuck those gods, right? Like we will win, we will regain the Silmarils, and we alone, not the men that are coming later, we alone, not the gods who came before, will own and rule Arda.
Yeah.
Which like I mean, it's a good rally cry, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's not bad at it. He's really good at being like, really getting people amped up and getting them going.
Yeah. And he's not holding back punches either.
No.
Right. He's not withholding anything from, like, in the same thing. He's telling them like this is going to be great in the end, but it's going to be hard.
Right.
Like,
yes. Yes.
It's going to be a long road, right? It says, so, I'm going to quote it, right?
Yeah.
So, fair shall be the end. Though long and hard shall be the road, say farewell to bondage. So even though it's going to be hard,
Right. We're
you,
free.
you're good. We're free,
Right.
right?
Which they
But
never weren't, but
it's not going to be easy, you know. So say goodbye to those weak ones, right?
yeah.
And we know who he thinks are the weak ones.
Yeah, because what does he say? He says farewell to bondage, but also farewell to
He
something
says,
else.
say farewell to bondage, but say farewell also to ease. Say
Yeah.
farewell to the weak. Say farewell to your treasures. More still shall we make. Journey light, but bring with you your swords. For we will go further than Orome, endure longer than Tolkas. We will never return back from pursuit. And then the quote that you read, right? That's the
Right.
full, that's
Right.
his full cry, right? So
Yeah.
he's telling them like, we're going to go and we're going to get so much more than what we have here right now.
Right.
But it's not going to be easy. And if you're weak, too bad for you.
Right.
Right. And he's also, it's a diss track because he just dissed Orome and Tolkas, who were out there
Right.
looking for Morgoth. Right.
Right.
And in his mind, they went, they looked, they couldn't find
They
him.
gave up.
They gave up. Right.
Right.
So yeah, it's and that's the Oath of Feyenoord.
And that's a big deal too, because like that first part, that part that you read, I mean, like, I mean, think about it. Like, who doesn't get amped up by shit like that? Right? I mean, like by somebody saying like this will be hard, but in the end it will be better, right?
Yeah.
And the weak can't do this, you know.
Yeah.
And so you think to yourself like, well, I'm not that weak person.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm the person that can persevere. I'm the person that can do it. I'm the person that my life will be better off on the other side,
Yeah.
you know? And so like, I mean, the dude
No,
knows what he's doing.
it was a great way to inspire, right? For lack
Or
of a better word.
incite.
Or incite, yeah. But that was this was the Oath of Feyenoord.
Right.
That bound him and his sons to Middle Earth, essentially.
Right. An oath
And
that. Oh no!
an
Go
oath,
ahead.
an oath that basically says, you know, we will not stop until we get the Silmarils back, and whoever has them is in our way.
Right.
And
Well, and I think
that's what leads to all the tragedy. And
well, and I think what's important is the witnesses that he put on the oath as well, right?
The witnesses.
So like who he swore the oath by, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's that whole idea that like he swore this oath by Iluvatar. Right. And I think that like that's kind of part of that big like issue is that he like swore this oath, but he swore it like to Iluvatar.
I mean, we swear oaths to, when you swear, what is it? It's an either an oath or an affirmation, and an affirmation is non-religious, right?
Right.
So help you God, right?
Right.
Versus, whatever the other option is.
But I think that's kind of what Tolkien is doing here is this idea of like somebody in their anger and their grief, basically saying, this like
cursing to God, yeah.
Cursing to God, exactly.
Yeah, cursing to God.
And like, with that being held accountable to that God.
Yeah.
Right? Just like we talked about, just like Gollum was held accountable to the ring when he swore to it,
right,
or swore by it.
Yeah. Well, he swore it to Iluvatar, to Manwë, to Varda, basically saying like, if we don't stick to this oath, we're damned to eternal darkness.
Right.
Right. Which is a stupid oath. Come on, don't take that. Like
what?
Either. Like, I get it. You're mad.
But again, what better way to inspire and incite than to throw something like that out there?
Right.
Like to basically tell the people that you're hoping will follow you, right? Because you need the men, right? You
Yeah.
can't do it on your own.
No.
So like hoping that these
Well,
men will follow you.
well, he tries.
He does try. He's a fucking idiot, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he like what better way to then like double down, right? Essentially, he gives this great speech, this great inspiring speech that like no other race shall oust us. And then also make sure that like he doubles down with the idea that like and I Fëanor, your, you know, the person who is claiming your kingship, I will swear to Iluvatar, to Manwë, to Varda, and to Taniquetil as my witnesses that this will happen.
Yeah.
And so like everybody else is like, well, fuck, all right, let's go.
Yeah. So he swears this oath, right? To Manwë, to Varda, you know, we're gonna hate whoever has our Silmaril.
I forgot about that
And
part too, but yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're gonna whoever has our Silmaril, we're gonna hate. And so we reading this for the first time, right? Go, well, that's Morgoth.
Right.
No one else has it. Morgoth has it. They just hate Morgoth.
Right.
That's the bad part of this
That's
oath,
that's
right?
the rub.
That's the rub of this oath is that they
Right.
swore it against to pursue whoever has the Silmarils, right? And so, you know, we're getting all this assembled, and you know, we have Fingolfin, right? Who are the other brothers?
So we've got Fingolfin. So brothers, we've got Fingolfin and Finarfin.
Ultimately, what I'm going to try to get to.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so you know, the non-Fëanor side of the Noldor, right?
Right. So Fingolfin.
Yeah. So Fingolfin and Finarfin.
Right.
We're like, this is a bad idea.
Right.
But again, because of hereditary, right, or what we assume to be, you know, a what is it? I forget what the word is, but like when a title is passed from father to son.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember that word too, but yeah, yeah, right.
Fëanor's in charge, and they're like, yeah, no, like we can't let, you know, our people, because they're essentially clans, right? Because of all these families.
Right.
And they're just like, yeah, no, we're not going to let this guy like make off with our people and like burn them to the ground because this guy's crazy and that's what he's going to do.
Right.
And they're like, reluctantly, they all go, right? Galadriel, who is
she's the daughter of Finarfin.
Finarfin.
Yeah.
She was all excited because she's
Right.
like, hell yeah, like I get to have some stuff, right?
Yeah, and her cousin Fingon was also excited, right?
Right.
Drinking at the same time.
Yeah. So she's excited to go, and so like, you know, the two other half brothers of Fëanor are reluctant to go, but they go anyways, right?
Right.
One of them does swear the oath. Fingolfin swears the oath.
Fingolfin doesn't swear the oath. His oath is from before, when he told Fëanor that he would follow him.
He would follow him. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, you know, Galadriel, Fingon, they're both excited to go to Fëanor. And you know, eventually Fëanor, and this was just a debate, right, that they all had.
Right.
Are we going to go? Are we actually going to do this? Right. And ultimately Fëanor wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, at that point they're all like, all right, let's go.
Right.
Like there was no like, let's plan on leaving, 2 weeks
Yeah,
from tomorrow. They're
right.
like, no, let's all just,
No,
we're
we're
out of
doing
here.
this now. Yeah, well, and like that's the thing, right? Is you've got like Fingolfin and Finarfin even concede, right?
Yeah.
Finarfin way more reluctantly than Fingolfin, right?
Right.
But they even decide like, all right, like the mob is behind them now. Like at that point, Feanor is starting to assemble
Yeah.
everything, right? We're talking about like, okay, these people are going to go here, you guys go gather this type of thing, you do this, you do that, right? And like all of this is happening, but like you were talking about, a lot of the Noldor are like, hold up, like Fingolfin's still our king. You were like, you were exiled. You've been
Right.
gone for 12 years.
Right.
Like, like we're still like, I love your plan, dude, but you're not my leader, right?
Right.
Um, and so like this whole idea kind of broke into factions again, right? You got these factions of like, you've got Feanor's people who are up front, you've got Fingolfin's who are kind of in the middle, and then you've got Finarfin who is, towards the back.
Because he's super reluctant to go.
Finarfin really doesn't want to
He,
go, but he
yeah.
also doesn't want to leave his people with a psychopath.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like,
That's reasonable. That's a good leader. Right.
right.
And thing and you know, and like you said, people are just like, no, like we're not going to renounce Fingolfin.
Right.
And the majority of the Noldor are in the group that goes with Fingolfin.
Yeah. Right. You've got, Feanor's got his
It's his
like
family
rush
essentially.
team. Right. Yeah. His
It's
little SEAL Team 6 that goes first.
yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, that's him and his sons and, a few other people that probably tagged along.
Right.
But
Him and
not
his
many.
sons and his son's family, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, the majority is in the clan of Fingolfin. And when they left Tyrion upon Tuna, right? And Fingolfin left even though he didn't want to. His sons,
Right.
his people, like everybody was like, we want to go.
Yeah.
We want to go and we want a better life. We want to experience Middle Earth.
Right.
Right. And he again didn't want to leave his people in the hands of a crazy person. So he was like, okay, let's go. Now, the interesting thing, and I feel like this is something that's it's glanced over, is that I feel like he uses this as the strict biblical term, but Tolkien actually says a tithe of the Noldor stay behind, and he uses that word tithe. Now, if I understand the biblical terminology of what a tithe is, that is a tenth.
Right.
And so a tenth of the Noldor stay in Tyrion.
Who we know already is the large. Well, it's not the largest. It's the largest of the group that's in Valinor.
Right. And so a tenth of them stay behind, right? And I feel like this part is important, is that he says that a tithe of them stay behind, not because they were scared, but because they love the Valar and they love their city so much.
Yeah.
Right. So like, we can't assume that they were cowards. That's not what it was. It was more that like they knew that the Valar were not trying to imprison them, and they loved the city that they made. Right. And
Right.
so like, I do think that's important, because it's not like they were scared. It's not like they were like, oh no, Morgoth is going to be scary, or like even Middle Earth. It wasn't that. It was just the fact that they had more sense than most of the people.
They're like, no, this is nice. I don't want to leave it. I have nice things here. You said it was going to be a hard road. That doesn't sound cool to me.
Right.
Have fun.
Yeah. I mean,
wish you the best. Good luck on your journeys.
Enjoy life in Middle Earth. I hope it's wonderful.
Iluvatar speed.
And so, everybody except for that 10th,
Yeah.
they leave. They start marching out of the city. And as soon as they start to leave,
They start to march.
They start to march.
Yeah, except for that 10th, everyone else starts to march.
Right. And as they're leaving, as they're marching out, a herald of Manwë shows up, right? And essentially, he's just saying to them, like, hey, guys, just hold up a second and let me kind of tell you about what's going on. First of all, everything that Fëanor is saying right now is what Melkor told him. Like, whether Fëanor realizes or that or not, he is just spreading Melkor's lies. So that's number one. Okay, everybody cool with that? All right, everybody's good with that. But secondly, we're not trying to keep you here, but we're also not going to stop you from leaving. It's just a really, really bad idea. Like, you leave, okay, but understand the Valar's not helping you. They're done. Yeah. They're absolutely done with, like, they can't. Now, we know, even though this is our first time reading it, but that's not necessarily true, right? But all in all, he's essentially saying that, like, the Valar can't help you if you leave. This is a bad idea. So just please don't do it, right?
Yeah.
And as he says this, he also says that because of his oath, Fëanor is banished, though. So he's basically saying, everybody, this is a really bad idea. None of you should leave. You really, really shouldn't, except for you, Fëanor, and your sons. Get the fuck out. Like, we're done. We're done with you.
You're a troublemaker.
Yeah, like, all you're doing is causing problems. So get out. We don't need you here anymore. You want to go fight Morgoth? Go fight more. I actually have a really hard time switching now that we're calling him Morgoth because I use Melkor so often. But it's like, you know what I mean?
It is Morgoth now.
It is Morgoth now. Fëanor officially changed that shit.
It's changed. He is Morgoth. He is the darkness or whatever it is.
And so, like, that's the thing, right? Is this guy basically says, like, hey, Fëanor, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Well, and he tells him, he's like, you're gonna learn the hard way.
Yeah.
That you were lied to.
Right. Which is great.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. And then he also, like, he tells him, because he says that you're gonna learn the hard way that you were lied to, right? And then he also says, like, there is no fucking way, no way that you can kill Morgoth.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, there's no way. Like, there is there is no power in the world that could be given to you that would be the case. And Fëanor is just like, bitch, you don't know me. like
he laughs. He laughs. He's like, haha, that's funny.
Yeah. Like,
you clearly don't know what I'm capable of. What is it? What's the Michael Scott quote? You don't know how far I can fly, when he quits Dunder Mifflin.
That's so good. Yeah, that's basically Fëanor.
Yeah.
And he's just a cocky son of a bitch.
Oh my god. That would be a great skit.
Like, Fëanor meme.
No, just this entire story,
right,
but done with, like, Andy Gervais,
the cast of the
Fëanor. Office. Yeah. Oh my god,
that would be good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and then let's see. So then, so in this case,
let's cast it out.
So Fëanor, Steve Carell. We'll do the American version, right?
Right.
So Steve Carell. Manwë is what's David Wallace?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Let's see. Who is
Fingolfin would definitely be um help me out. Help me out.
Jim?
Jim. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Fingolfin would be
Jim.
Jim. No, no, no. Fingolfin would be Pam. Finarfin would be Jim.
Fingolfin would be Pam.
Yeah, because she actually goes with him. Finarfin would be Jim.
Well,
Finarfin's the one trying to like calm things down and everything, and Pam's just like, I mean, whatever.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, that's great. Oh man, that's good. Um, but yeah, I mean, all in all, this Herald of Manwë kind of, I mean, basically, again, like pronounces it a doom, right?
Yeah.
And Feanor is like, "Fuck your doom. Like, I'm better than what you think. I've got more fire in me than you can imagine." Which again, like, he's
You,
just
you, you
cocky.
keep you keep saying that, and all I think about is you don't know how far I can
I know.
fly.
and and then he says, you will hear the stories. You will hear the songs that are sung of what I do to Morgoth,
Yeah.
right? Now let's be honest, we don't, because he does absolutely nothing to Morgoth. Um, we do hear songs of the triumphs of elves for sure, but nothing because of Feanor, right?
Right.
Um, and then he mocks the sadness of the Valar. He basically derides their overall grief of everything that's happened. One day they will follow him to fight Morgoth, and that's the only thing in this entire speech that he was right about.
Ultimately,
Exactly.
but it wasn't
That's
because of him.
It absolutely was not because of him.
So, he tells him, he's like, yeah, I'm out. Don't follow me. Or no, he's like, in the end, you're gonna come, right? And
Right.
so the herald's like, okay,
Yeah, just
right,
okay, good sir.
very nice. And so they leave. Um, and they go. They need to get to Morgoth, right?
Right.
And so he takes them to Alqualande,
Alqualande.
which is a great name.
Right?
Um, and he knew that the only way he was going to get there is ships,
Right.
right? And the Teleri love them some ships,
Yeah, they do.
and so he goes down there to get their help, right? But they don't want to help him, right?
Right.
They like where they are, and they like their boats, and their
And it's
boats are
and it's not without compassion either, right?
right, right.
Like
But it's
always definitely like he feels for him, but he's like, I'm also not fucking stupid.
right. They're they're sad that they're leaving, right? Because it was the Telir, it was Finwë and Olwë,
Yeah,
right? Who were close.
right.
Um, and so it's like you moving to Utah, right?
Yeah.
I saw a gig car the other day, and I was like, oh, Chris and Ariel.
I like that the gig car is what
Yeah.
reminded you. That's great.
Yeah. It was actually we were driving home, and I was driving up the hill. I was like, oh. But yeah, they're it's um they're losing their friends, their kin, right?
Right.
And there's no way um they they could convince them to stay, because they were already of the mind that they were going to go. And regardless of that, Feanor had to go because he was exiled.
Right.
And so, you know, um,
Which is a good point, right? Like the idea that, Olwe was essentially saying like you guys should turn back, but you are right. Like at this point, Fëanor and his sons, like they're exiled. There's nothing for them to turn back to.
Yeah, they have to find some way to get lost,
Yeah,
right? And so, Feanor's already hot at this point. He's angry. And he tells Olwe, he's like, "Well, you're not our friends anymore, right? Are you saying you're not our friends anymore?" And
right,
Olwe's just like, "When did I ever fucking say that?
right.
Like, we are your friends. We're trying to convince you, but we're not going to give you a boat, right?
Yeah.
What you're doing, like I'm telling you as a friend, is stupid,
And
right?"
and I think that's one of my favorite parts of it is when he says like as a friend, it is my job to tell you that you're being dumb.
Yeah.
like and that's great.
Yeah. And so Feanor goes there thinking, well, I'm going to be able to convince these guys to lend me some of their boats and I can get to Middle Earth and then blah, 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 blah. Right. And my plan is going to work.
Right.
And always like, no, like you can't have our boats.
No.
We're not going to join you. Like they never talked to Morgoth. So they don't, like the lies that he told never really reached them.
Right.
And so he's not going to believe what Feanor is telling him because Feanor's already been lied to and has been fed this fake news,
Right.
right? That his mind is mush, and so he
Right.
believes it. And so Feanor leaves, and he's just outside of Alqualande, and he's waiting for the rest of his people. And so he's waiting for more of his people to get there. And then when they get there, Feanor keeps true to his oath of hating everybody who is going to stand in his way of the Silmarils, right? Essentially, right? They're an impediment to him getting to his Silmarils to fulfilling his oath, right? That he just swore.
Right.
And him and his host, which doesn't include Fingolfin at this point,
Right.
right? Start to attack the Teleri, and it is the first kinslaying. The first kinslaying. It's not the kinslaying.
We're gonna reiterate that one more time. The first kinslaying.
Yeah. So people don't typically name. So people don't typically name things the first if there isn't a second. So spoiler alert.
And or third.
Well, no, now you really spoiled it for people. You could have surprised them with the third one. So yeah, Feanor goes in with his group, right? Because him and his family were the first ones there.
Mm-hmm.
Once more of them got there, and he's eager to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
And so once more people get there, they start fighting the Teleri. Fingolfin and Fingon get there, and they see them fighting. They think it's the Teleri who are trying to stop them from
leaving.
Right? They think that it's the Valar, right? Fëanor was right. They've all been whipped up by Fëanor to think that the Valar are out to get them, even though they just heard Manway's herald say, "We ain't gonna stop you, right? You want to go on, right?" But they see this fighting. They think it's the Teleri who are doing it at the behest of the Valar.
Right. So again, I've used this analogy a lot, but it's that analogy of, you're at a bar, your buddy goes outside, and like 2 minutes later you walk outside and he's in a fight. You're not going to sit there and like be like, oh, well, who started it? No, you're going to jump in and you're going to start defending your buddy, right?
Yeah. Well, it's your buddy's a dick. Well, and then you're like, he's probably getting what he deserves.
Yeah. Just step back from that.
And so, by the time that the rest of the Noldor get there with Fingolfin and Fingon, right, then it's pretty much over for the Teleri. The Noldor had been fashioning weapons. The
Right.
Teleri had some bows.
But like that's
Uh,
it.
that's it. And
Poor
so
fuckers didn't have a chance.
they take the Teleri ships,
Yeah.
and always like pleading with Ose, to do something about it. And they're just like, we can't do anything. We told them that they could go. Like, we're not
Right.
going to stop them. Um, but at some point, one of the Maiar spirits rouses the seas, right?
It was,
And
yeah, Ase's wife. I can't remember her name.
Yunin,
Yes. Yeah.
um, they they whip up the seas. Some of the Noldor, die in that kind of chaos, but for the most part, they all make it.
Right.
Right.
Well, and like, one of the biggest reasons why, I don't know, I kind of call bullshit on the Valar on that one of like, well, we're not going to do anything because we told you we weren't going to stop you. It's like, yeah, that's before they murdered hundreds of other elves. Like, there's a difference between stopping them and like, making
And
sure
being
that they
being okay with some genocide, some light
right,
genocide.
exactly. like there's a difference there, but okay, you hold to what you think is right. I don't know,
Yeah.
like whatever. Um but yeah, I mean, basically what happens is like, they most of them get on the ships and they're rowing north, right? Because they know
Right.
that the further north that they go, the closer it is between Aman and Middle Earth,
Right.
right? They kind of come together towards the north because the Helcarax is up there.
Right. Right.
Um, and so they're going north, but like not all of them, right? Most of Fingolfin's people are still on land and they're just
Right.
marching alongside the boats as they go north,
Right.
right? And it's not a short amount of time either. It's a pretty long ass time to
Yeah.
the point where there's, like murmurings starting to happen. People like Fingolfin's people, especially, are being like, this Fëanor son of a bitch, like we're out here, freezing. We,
He's in his boat all comfortable and shit.
yeah, and we're walking, going towards the Helcarax. Like this really, really fucking sucks. And as they do that, as they're saying all of this, another herald shows up.
Yeah.
Right now, we're told it's a shadowy figure. It could have been Mondos himself. It could have been a herald of Mondos. We're not sure. Right?
It says it's either Mondos or a Herald of Monway.
Yeah. So we don't know who, but a shadowy figure shows up, and at this point gives them the doom of the Noldor. Right?
Right.
And this is where he's essentially just telling them like, you guys are fucked. like
Yeah.
like because of what happened, like you will now shed unnumbered tears, which is a pretty important line
Yeah.
because of a war called the War of Unnumbered Tears later
Right.
on, right? And they'll be shut out forever, right? Like there's no coming back from this. Because of the blood you spilled, your blood is going to be spilled. You can't die from old age, but you can be killed, and you will be. Like, you are going to die now. All of you who thought that you would live forever, you are going to die.
Yeah. And that's the gentler part of the doom, right?
Right.
Like the real, the real force behind it is against Fëanor and his line, right?
Right. Because
And it's like, and it's and what the oath is, or what the doom is basically saying, the Valar are coming after you from the west to as far east as east goes, right?
Yeah.
So like, you're not going to escape it.
Right. And that's the thing is like, they say, you're going to be betrayed, you're going to be slain, you're going to be tormented. And when you die, because you will, again, I need to put this in your head, you will die.
Yeah.
You are going to be stuck in the halls of Mandos, even though every person that you just murdered, all of the people that you just slaughtered, are going to beg for you to be able to be released from the halls of Mandos, and you won't. You will still be stuck there.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. Oh, and to top it all off, oh, and by the way, men are inheriting Middle Earth, not you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yeah. You're going to essentially disappear if you
Yeah.
stay there.
Like it's just a big like punch in the dick.
Yeah.
like like this is gonna happen. You are gonna die. All of these things. When you do die, this shit's going down. Oh, and by the way, that whole oath where you said you're gonna take over Arda and stuff, that's bullshit. Not happening.
Yeah. Because you're going to fade away.
Right.
If you don't die and you live long enough, you will fade away.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah. And Feanor's just like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, nah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
he basically said, I call bullshit on what you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's like, I don't go back on my word. I made a pledge.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like this is what I'm doing now. And sorry, but like I'll prove you wrong. Not only do I not go back on my pledge, I will prove you wrong. You will be singing our songs, and
Yeah.
finally at that point, that's when Finarfin finally he just throws his hands up and he's like, "Nah, I'm done with this shit."
Yeah. He's like,
Like
this guy's
I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And
they didn't and he heads back.
Right.
Him and his people, they head back and they have no idea what that means. Right?
Yeah.
Which is also scary.
Right. That's the thing is like a lot of them were afraid to go back.
Right.
Right. They didn't know what awaited them.
Yeah.
But
they just killed a bunch of Teleri.
Right. But Finarfin was essentially like whatever's waiting for us there cannot be worse than what's
what this
dude just said.
Yeah. Yeah.
like there's no way it's worth.
I will take my chances.
Right.
Yeah.
And
well, he goes back and
yeah.
They get forgiven.
Right.
And he becomes the leader of the Noldor in Validor.
Right. But his sons and his daughter don't go back.
Right.
Because they are still dead set on the idea of
Middle Earth. Close, and they're close with Fingolfin's kids.
Right.
So.
Right. And so, we're coming up towards the end of our story here.
Yeah, we still got a little bit more to go.
So Mondos,
yeah,
or the Herald of Manwë, bounces. Right, he's essentially like, I did what I had to do. I'm out.
Yeah,
and they were so far north at this point, right, that they could actually see the western shore of Middle Earth. Because they were so close to that Helcarax. Now it was cold as fuck, and Fingolfin's dealing with like his people who wanted to leave, like they wanted to go to Middle Earth, but now they're pissed. Right now they're upset because, again, like you said, like, oh, we've got fucking Fëanor over there in his boats living it up with the goddamn horses. And I'll never live that down. Or I'm never gonna give that up. I'm just not.
The horses.
Those fucking horses, and he's got the horses on the boat, but for some reason, like, there's no room for us. I don't know what's up with that bullshit, right? And they're camping at one point, and he hears all of this, right? Fëanor hears all of the back talk against him. And eventually just says like, meh, I don't need him. Right. And some of the ships had been lost in the storm that Unin Is that her name?
Unin.
Yunin?
Yeah. Uinen.
Yeah. So like some of the ships were lost in that, right? And so they don't really have enough ships to get everything over, plus the horses. And so Fëanor in the dark of the night decides, fuck these guys, we're out. And he loads everything up and he leaves. Right? Now, it's important to understand that, again, the earth is flat at this time.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's no curvature of the earth that gets in the way of, somebody seeing a very, very far distance, and elves
Can
being
we
elves.
clarify one point?
Yeah.
Just really quick before we
Is it
move
about
on.
the fucking horses?
No.
Oh, okay.
The earth is flat in this fantasy novel. Right? The earth is not actually flat. We're not saying that the earth is flat.
No. We're saying that it was flat at this time because
this
this is
time.
real.
Yes. Right. Yes, let's say that. At one point, maybe the earth was flat. Now it's
there
not.
You go. Now it's not. It is a sphere now. It was made spherical.
By
we'll get to that point.
Yeah.
So, so they leave, and they're so close now to, the northern portion of Arda that it doesn't actually take them very long. They cross the sea with relative ease. And not only that, but it says that Fëanor even felt that there was actually a little bit of a push. Like once they got into the ships, there was actually a wind that took them across. Right? Basically, I feel like that was the Valar saying, all right, fuck off.
That was Manwë saying, get fucking lost.
Yeah, like I'm done with you.
Yeah.
So they make it over the Middle Earth, right? And they land near the river Dorloman. Now we like in the Middle Earth that a lot of people know, Dorloman is a different place because it's no longer there.
It's underwater.
It's underwater. Beleriand in general is gone.
It's underwater.
Right. We won't even get that in the TV show.
No.
Because it's already been sunk.
It's already underwater.
Yeah. But so they get off the boats. Now they get off the boats, and Maedhros is like, all right, Dad. So we're over here. Which valiant sailors are you going to send back to get the rest of the crew? And Fëanor's legit lost it at this point.
Well, he asks him. He's like, well, who are we going to spare, right? Because they have a small party, right? So they had the smallest of the three groups that set out, right? Now two. Right. And so he's like, who are you going to spare to go back with the ships? And who are they going to bring back?
Well, and Maedhros says this out of real sincerity too, because he actually has a kinship with Fingolf and Sons.
Right, with Fingon.
Right.
He calls out Fingon by name. Right. He's like, who are they going to bring back? Fingon the Valiant, right?
Right.
You're going to want him because you were going to fight.
Which later on, there's more to that, right?
Yeah.
But Maedhros is being like legit here, right? Yeah. He's like, we need these people, and this is where I'm gonna quote again because it's just so good.
Yeah,
is that Fëanor comes back? His response to his son Maedhros is none and none. What I have left behind, I count now as no loss, needless baggage. Like, just full on, fuck those guys. All they do is slow me down.
Yeah. Well, again, he's mad because they're talking about him behind his back.
Right. And that's again, that's him just like dick measuring again, just saying like, I am the most badass of badasses. I don't need them.
Yeah.
And it like dude, and I mean, again, granted, there's a million choices that Fëanor could have made along the way that would have made this whole thing very, very different, right? We understand that. We've talked about
not being a
like
dick,
not being a dick, right?
Yeah.
But there are a million choices that could have been made that would have made this very different. This one, because of the fact that, again, we're not there yet, but because of what we know Fingolfin is able to do, this decision was probably one of the biggest bad decisions that he made if he actually wanted to get to the point that he was trying to get to,
Right.
retrieving the Silmarils and everything else, right? Because he just cut his troops by what, 70-80%?
Yeah.
And not just that, but left behind what we would consider the most valiant and stalwart and like worthy soldiers out there, you know.
Right.
And Fingolfin, again, being one of them, because we know what he's able to do, and we know what, like, if it were all of them together that went to Autumno, maybe things would have been different, right? Maybe. But that never happened because Fëanor decided, fuck those guys, burn the boats.
Yeah.
And so, like, Fingolfin and his crew wake up to look across the sea and see a giant ass bonfire and know, well, fuck me.
Yeah. We've been
Like,
betrayed.
I know what that is.
Yeah.
And it's not good. And Fingolfin finally, instead of just following along, instead of just like, I get it, he did it for his people, right? And I'm not saying less, I'm not talking less on Fingolfin. I love me some Fingolfin. He's a fucking badass. But he finally got so pissed that he was like, we can't go back, so like, fuck going back. I am going to make Fëanor pay.
Yeah.
And with really just sheer hatred and anger in his heart, he was able to take the elves across the Helcarax. Right?
Right.
The one place that even Shelob and, or not Shelob, sorry, Ungoliant and Morgoth weren't really wanting to go to, right?
Right.
Like, this was a place that was death, essentially. If you went there, it was jagged shards of ice and cold and frigid and death. And a lot of people died, to the point where later on, when Galadriel is asked about this, she doesn't talk about it.
Yeah.
It was that bad. Like, because Fingon left with those people, right? With Turgon, with Galadriel, with her brothers, the sons of Finarfin, right? And they crossed, and they did get across. Now Turgon, we actually we'll talk a lot about later on. But the poor guy actually lost his wife in this
Right.
crossing.
Yeah.
Right. And that, again, that is important. That makes an impact on the story later on.
Yeah.
But they did it. Right. And we will go back. The next time we talk, we'll go back in time a little bit. But I wanted to finish out this part of the story, right? Because there are other things that are happening during this crossing of the Helcarax, right? We hear of other things happening with Fëanor and the Sons of Fëanor, and with the Valar as well.
Right.
But they make it. They set foot on Middle Earth. And as they do, they blow their trumpets, and something new is seen in the sky for the first time. And Superman. It's the moon.
No, it's not Superman.
The moon comes up for the very first time while Fingolfin and his elves make it to Middle Earth and blow their horn. And because of that, they definitely, it even says later on, they took that as a sign that they were meant to be there.
Yeah.
right? But I mean, fucking Fëanor. Like,
He's a dick.
like, I mean, you're just continually like, oh well, he can't get worse than that. Oh, okay. Oh no,
Oh
well,
no,
he
he
can't get
can.
worse than that, and just continually thinking he can't get worse than that, and yet he does every time.
Well, we're almost done with Fëanor. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Well, because we already were spoiled by Tolkien by knowing that Fëanor was not alive to see the sun come up.
Yeah.
So something happens between now and then. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of this history?
I like how I have to do this
Yeah, right?
every time to like zoom it back in.
Yeah.
This was a good one. This
Um,
is this
yeah,
is I mean, this is where the drama starts, right?
right.
Really it's the last one with Morgoth killing Finwë. Um but like this is if you were writing a show, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
were you would want this to be the like this is trumpets blowing, moon rising is a great way to end a season, right?
So good. Oh, it'd be so
Uh,
good.
and all of this, like the suspense, right, of what's
Mm-hmm.
going to happen next, and like it just builds and it builds and it builds until Fingolfin and his people get to Middle Earth, right? There
Right.
again, you're right. There's other stuff that's going on while they're traveling across the Hellcarax.
Right.
Um, but man, like, yeah,
It's so good.
it's really good.
It's so and like ever since the last time it wasn't our last I don't think it was the last podcast that we did. I think it was before that. Um but ever since the last podcast or the last time we talked about it where we were talking about like it being a show and like the end of a season, like that's
Yeah.
all I can think about now. And man, like that would just be the most badass end of a fucking season. Like
Right?
so good. And then the next season we go back to see what happened to Fëanor during that time.
Right.
And just like and then it comes back to them making it across the Hellcarax and blowing the horn again, and all
Yeah.
of that. Like mid-season, that's where we get to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, oh, it'd be so good. Oh, I want the
I
first
know.
age so bad.
I know. Someone get on that.
Oh,
Someone offer somebody a buttload of money.
oh, I want the first age so bad.
I
There's
just
so much good shit in the first age.
yeah.
I would say probably 50% of Tolkien fans out there are really just fans of the movies,
Yeah.
right? And so like a first age story, like a first age TV show would shock the fuck out of those people because they'd be like, what is going on with
Yeah.
these elves? Like,
Right. Cause I mean I mean you do see Elrond fighting,
right,
in the Hobbit, you see him
right, but
fighting.
not being assholes,
No.
right?
Well, and not being like what emotive, right? Like
Right,
they're essentially emotionless robots,
right. Yeah,
right? Um and I mean you're an emotionless robot because um you've gone through some shit,
right,
right?
right.
And you've gone through almost 3 ages of shit,
Of shit.
right? Or no, 3 ages of shit.
Yeah.
Because that's the moon rising is the start of the first age, isn't it?
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you've gone through 3 ages of just fucking the worst,
Right.
and so yeah, so so to see the elves being like petty and vengeful and jealous and possessive and all this stuff, right? It's it's human, right?
Right.
It's human.
Yeah, it definitely humanizes a race that is in all other media that we've seen is so far beyond human.
Yeah.
Um, which which I just think would be so perfect. Like, I mean, we get the storyline of, and this was my favorite, that meme, the alternate titles of the Silmarillion. We would get elves behaving badly.
Yeah.
That's what we would get, and it would be
Yeah.
just so good. And like what we could do with it now, like nowadays, what we do with
Yeah.
stuff, oh my God, it would be so good.
Will we get it? Will we ever
Come on,
get it?
Amazon. Come on, Amazon. I know you're listening.
What did I see the other day? I saw a meme that it's like the world is like however old the world is, right? Or the
Hmm.
universe. And it's like you're fortunate enough to live at the time when the Lord of the Rings came out.
It's so great.
Right?
Love it.
Like the movies. It was like
Right.
it was like one of the Reddit threads for the movies.
Nice. All right, man. Well, I think
All
that's
right.
it.
Yeah, that's it.
Should
I'm
we
gonna
wrap it
stop.
up?
I'm gonna stop recording.
All
Well,
right. Well,
you wait. Do you need to do any outro?
yeah. I mean, I was just gonna throw it out there. The whole, follow us on Instagram, _Swolhirrim. Start talking to us a little bit more. Find us on YouTube if you're already on YouTube. Well, hey, if you're not, and you're listening to us on either iTunes podcasts, Spotify, any of those places that you listen to podcasts. Find us on YouTube as well if you do that type of thing. And we also have an email, the swolhirrim@gmail.com. You can email us stuff and tell us to shut up, or tell us what you think we're doing well. We won't shut up, but you can tell us to, and we'll politely read your email and tell you to fuck yourselves. Um,
We'll do it
but
more like Fëanor, though.
yeah, of course.
Ha
Yes.
ha ha.
um, but yeah, and again, let us know if you want to hear, or if you want me to, start posting more, like workouts, fitness based stuff. If you want us to kind of post some stuff like that and get a little bit more swole on that Swolhirrim site, I'd love to do that as well. So definitely let us know, and the more, like I said at the beginning of the show, the more contact we get from everybody, the sooner we're going to do another giveaway. And jump on that Patreon. Like I said, I've got shirts that are being made. I've got stickers. I'm actually going to do some Velcro patches as well. Those things are going to be part of those Patreon packages. So if you want, to throw us a little bit of money every month, awesome. You'll get a little bit of swag in return. Um, but overall, I think this one was a lot of fun. I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
it's the
Um,
beer. The beer helps.
yeah, right. So I think that's it for this one. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.